Hello students, and welcome to the cartoon animation class. I'm your instructor David Toledo, and today's lesson will be Layers Part 2. Go ahead and open the Flash program and choose New under the File option. Then we will be going to the bottom left-hand corner of the screen where you will see the red arrow pointing to layer number 1. Layers basically stack on top of each other in order to create the illusion of movement. Basically, it's very similar to just stacking papers or books on top of each other. Whatever's on the top layer, if it's too large, it will hide anything that's below it. So you want to put the larger images on the bottom layers. So today we're going to be creating basically a cartoon face. We're not going to make it animate just yet. We will do that next lesson. But for today's lesson, we're just going to design a face on multiple layers. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to create multiple layers. And the way that you do that is at the very bottom of the screen of the program, just above the start icon, you'll see the icon for creating new layers. So go and take a look at the red arrow, and you'll see something that looks like pages stacked on top of each other with one page folding backwards. So every time you click on that, you will get a new layer. So let's go ahead and click on that 5 times, and we will get 5 new layers. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to name each of those layers. So you do that by simply double clicking on the name layer 1 or layer 2 or layer 3, and when you double click on it, you'll see that you have the option of typing a new name on that layer. So go ahead and duplicate what I've done. I go and put face on the bottom layer. Again, the face is going to be the largest thing, so we want it below everything else. If we create the face on one of the upper levels, we will cover and hide the eyes, the nose, the mouth, that sort of thing. So go ahead and do face on the bottom, do eyes, nose, eyebrow, and mouth. And when you're done with that, go ahead and highlight the face level. So just click on that and you will see that it will turn blue. Now go ahead and go all the way to the right side of the screen, and that's where your toolbars are, or your toolbar is, I suppose, and your various tools. We're going to go ahead and click on the paintbrush, and we are going to draw a face or the skull on that bottom layer. So again, be sure that the bottom layer that says is called face is highlighted. Click on the brush and just use your mouse or your stylus to draw a face. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to color that in. And the way you do that is you go down to the color box, you click on it, and you will see multiple options for colors to choose from. Go ahead and choose the color that you would like. Then go ahead and go back up the toolbar and you will see what looks like a paint bucket spilling paint. Click on that and then go ahead and pour the color into the face that you drew. Now, something to be aware of, if your lines on the face are not connected, the paint will not pour into it. So if you're trying to pour the paint by clicking in the face and nothing's happening, it means there's a gap or a hole somewhere in there. So you need to click back on the paintbrush, connect those holes, then you'll be able to pour the paint in. Once that's done, let's go ahead and go back to the layers, and let's go ahead and click on the layer that says eyes. Then we'll go back over to the right side of the screen again, Let's go ahead and change the color so that the eyes are a different color than that yellow. So click again on the color box. Choose another color. I chose blue, but you can choose whatever color you would like. Go back up to the paintbrush, click on that, and go ahead and draw a couple eyeballs on there. Then go back to the layers. Go ahead and choose nose and just repeat the process. Highlight nose so that it shows blue on the layer. Go over to the color box, choose a different color. Go up to the paintbrush tool, click that, and then draw a nose on the cartoon. Go ahead and repeat that same thing with the next layer. Go ahead and do your mouth on the mouth layer. Change the color and draw it in. Go ahead and do the brow, same thing. Highlight it on the layer. Go to the color box, change the color, go to the paintbrush, and paint on eyebrows. Now, if you're really paying attention, you might have noticed that I made a little mistake. I drew the lips on the brow layer, and I drew the eyebrows on the lips layer. Doesn't really matter. Actually, you can name those anything you want, and you can draw anything on those boxes. It's the names are really just to help you if you go once you start working with the timeline and you want to make changes. You want to know what you're working with. But again, you can name them anything you want. You can draw anything you want on those layers. Okay, so now that you've got everything drawn, I actually am going to add one more thing. I'm going to create one more layer, and remember you do that by just going to the bottom of the screen and clicking on the thing that looks like stacked papers folding over. I'm going to add one more layer, and I'm going to call it hat. I'm going to go ahead and draw a hat on there. And I'm putting this on there because I want to show you what happens if you mix the layers up and you put a large image on an upper layer. So you can actually move your layers by just clicking on them, holding down the mice, and sliding them up or down on the layers. So I'm going to just click on the face icon, slide it up to the top, so now the face is on the top layer. Now what happens is it completely covers everything else. So you see it's now on the top layer. You can see the hat kind of in the background because, again, it was higher than the face, but everything else is hidden. Now here's a little trick to see if you accidentally hid something underneath a larger image on an upper layer. You can click on that box at the top of the layers that looks like a black square. That is the skeleton key, and what that does is it basically turns any images that you click that little square on will basically just show you the frame without any of the fill. So you can see now, oh, there are eyes and a nose and a mouth and all of that there, but they're underneath the face layer. So let's go ahead and move that face layer back down to the bottom where it should be, and there's the eyes, nose, mouth, and brows. So that is the layer lesson part 2. Next lesson, we will be actually animating this cartoon so that it looks like it's speaking and blinking. Go ahead and choose File and Save so that we have this to work with in the future, and we will continue in the next lesson. I'm your instructor, David Toledo, and thank you for tuning in.